සරණයි අපේ හන්ද. Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Bhante.
Morning, Bhante.
Morning.
Morning, Bhante.
Good morning.
Good help, Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Good morning. Thank you. Now we have a couple of minutes. We are waiting for others to appear. Let us see. There are only very few of you. Today, I'm going to speak on a very important section of Dhamma. In this is a discourse called Simile of the Fortress. Simile of the fortress. Fortress is very well protected, secured by 7 features and 4 more additional foods. This is the simile. 7 protections and 4 kinds of food. So a king, Buddha has not mentioned the name of the king, but a king has a fortress. This fortress has one firmly rooted base or secured a pillar, like a watchtower, which is very securely planted, immobile, unshakable, so that someone can keep an eye on enemies coming to the fortress to attack, and is so securely established. So this is number one protection. So somebody is there always to see these enemies or someone coming from outside. And then there is a wall around the city so that no one can enter the city. The wall protects the city. And then next to the wall is very deep and wide ditches with all kind of crocodiles, sharks, and so forth. If any enemy climbed over the wall, the enemy would fall into the ditch full of water and will be attacked by various type of wild animals. And then the third is the path going around the city like a beltway. In a big city, there are beltways. In the beltways, there are they also to guard the place by weapon armed soldiers. They protect the city. And the next is then there are soldiers of all kinds, elephant riders, horse riders, vehicle riders, and someone who carries shields and daggers and very powerful what you call people, we call Yoda. They are very strong, like wrestlers, very powerful, strong people who can jump over the enemies and subdue them very easily. And there are very wise gatekeepers they are well-trained gatekeepers. They can detect people, and then these gatekeepers can identify, they check their identity when people enter and see who are trustworthy and who are not, and who come as spies and thieves and so forth. These gatekeepers prevent them from entering the city, and they check them and chase them out. Only those who know well, those who are familiar to the gatekeepers, and they let them in, and those strangers, unknown people, they don't let them in. Then there is another high and wide wall, so that they cannot jump over the walls to the city. These are the 7 protections to protect the city. In addition, the king has, in addition to this, the king, in the fortress, there is in the fortress much grass, firewood, water, and all these are stored in case they need, if it is when they want to cook something, or if it is cold, they have to use the fireplaces, and for them to have cooking, bathing, and so forth, water, tanks, and all these are protected. This is the first kind of maintenance of the body, individual's body, civilians and soldiers. They need the grasses for the horses and cows and so forth inside the fortress. Also, they store grains, rice, barley, wheat, and so on, the necessary grains in case of prolonged war. They have to prepare in advance for all these things. And then they have to have some other provisions like sesame, green grams, and beans, and so forth. And also they have to keep medicine ready for the first aid. Those who are wounded to treat, and also some other medicine. Those days they used ghee, butter, oil, honey, molasses, and salt in case of the sick people. These are things they gave as medicine. Now, this is how a city is protected. And this is a very beautiful simile. And then Buddha compared these 7 protections and 4 kind of additional secure food, medicine, and so forth. He compared them to a monastic life. Monastic life. That is, the first is just as a pillar, watchtower. The monastic must have faith, faith endowed with knowledge, trust, saddha, in Pali, saddha, endowed with knowledge. Saddha in the Buddha's enlightenment. When they have saddha in the Buddha's enlightenment, that is very much like watchtower, very firmly rooted. The tower is there to see enemies coming from various directions. When Buddha said monastic similarly have strong morality, they can watch their eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. That is a protection of their eyes, ears, and so forth, through which these are the doors. Through these doors, enemies can come. Greed, hatred, delusion, lust, jealousy, and so forth can invade the mind. And therefore the watchtower is compared to keeping the senses on guard all the time. Then the king's fortress has dug deep and wide, ditches. That is to fall enemies into them. Similarly, the monks must have moral shame, hiri, to protect them. And so that they can, when unwholesome things, if the desire arises or unwholesome things, to immediately they would be able to protect the mind from them with using moral shame, hiri, and also apply 4 kinds of effort. Effort is called restraining, then overcoming, arousing, and maintaining. 4 kinds of right effort. That is to prevent unwholesome mental states from arising, and to overcome already arisen unwholesome mental states, and arousing unarisen wholesome mental states, and maintaining arisen wholesome mental states. For instance, if somebody has not committed something shameful, one must maintain that state, not to get involved a fresh, unwholesome state that is shameful. Or if one unfortunately, unmindfully has committed something shameful, then one would overcome that and make a commitment never to commit it again. And this is what right effort does with a moral shame. Then there is a high and wide, what you call fortress in the king's fortress, and that is like mind must be protected from moral dread. That is, sometimes people, when they are unmindful, the monks particularly, without any fear of punishment, fear of taking rebirth in woeful state of existence, without fear of blames, one would commit unwholesome things. And therefore, at that time also, the person must protect the mind using this moral bred fear, thinking that a person of my caliber, my status, my situation should be afraid of committing unwholesome things. And then, just like king has weapons, the monastic must use the Buddha's disciples or monastics, lay people also, must have good memory to remember what they have learned, so that they can remember things, so for them to use them when a suitable occasion. That is Bahusutta, having learned Dhamma. Then using that Dhamma they have learned and memorized very often, so that they will not forget it. And this Dhamma is good or excellent at the beginning, excellent in the middle, excellent in the end. So without being lazy, with the diligence, with the commitment, they must learn Dhamma. Never take anything for granted. This Dhamma is perfect for the beginning, middle, and end, and completely perfect. And such a Dhamma one learns in order to share with the intention of sharing with others, overcoming to prevent, to help them to improve their knowledge, to make them, if they are wise, to make them wiser. If they have faith, to increase their faith. If they have pleased with the monastics or the Dhamma, and they must learn the Dhamma, the monastic must learn the Dhamma and teach them, so that they can increase their faith, trust, and prevent them from committing unwholesome things and encouraging them committing wholesome things. For this purpose, they must learn the Dhamma. Just like in the fortress, there is a lot of soldiers, elephant riders, horse riders, cart riders, then cavalry, archers, shield holders, dagger holders, and so forth. The monastic also must learn to overcome unwholesome things, just like in a battlefield. They have to have great integrity, personality, and develop their mental state through the practice of meditation. And they also must think of their goal all the time and never slide it down. And then they show their prowess, their power in developing faculties, saddha, virya, sati, samadhi, panya, faith, effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, and overcome all unwholesome things. Then, just like King's Fortress has a gatekeeper who is wise, and only he let those whom he know in, and those whom he does not know would be prevented from entering the city. That means the gatekeeper is a very smart person, well-trained person, who immediately can identify who are the good person, who are the rogues, who are the thieves, who are going to be spies, and so forth, sort of king's enemies, and this gatekeeper can stop them entering the city. And this gatekeeper let good person, honest person, sincere person, a king's friends, and so forth in the city. Similarly, the monastic, the Buddha's disciples, always keep themselves alert and be mindful, always be mindful. And as mentioned in discourses, sitting, standing, walking, lying down, eating, drinking, wearing clothes, and using the call of nature, and even until they go to sleep, until they fall asleep, they keep the mind full of mindfulness. They remain mindful all the time. And the purpose is to prevent unnourished and unwholesome mental states from arising and invading the mind, make this luminous mind corrupt, polluted, and filled with defilements. Undefiled mind should remain undefiled. Don't let the mind be defiled. And this is what mindfulness does all the time. Then, just like King's Fortress has another wall, this monastic must have enough wisdom. This wisdom is called Udayattagamini Panya, and wisdom of seeing rising and falling. Wisdom of seeing rising and falling. Normally, some people see rising, but they don't see falling. Some people see falling, not rising. Rising and falling, seeing rising and falling is called wisdom. In another word, anicca, impermanence. Seeing impermanence as impermanence is called wise wisdom. Wisdom. So the person has to have this kind of knowledge or wisdom. And then, what are the 4 kinds of food in other protections? They are not weapons, not soldiers, not deeply dug ditches, not high walls, not watchtowers, but there are 4 other very, very important protections. They are called, in order to protect the mind, just like collecting grass, firewood, water in the city just in case of emergency. The monastic must acquire or gain first jhana, which is secluded from unwholesome states of state, obtaining seclusion, going to a secluded place, overcoming hindrances, and with initial thought, sustained thought, joy, happiness, and concentration. With these qualities, one must gain the first jhana. First jhana. Jhana is a state of mind, relatively quiet, more peaceful, and with deep concentration. Although it is not deepest, but relatively deep concentration, which is called abiding in peace in this very life. It is called Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. Living in peace in this very life, not after death. In this very life, if one wants to live in peace, one must attain the first jhana. That is a security. In the fortress, the king's fortress has firewood, grass, water, and so forth in case of emergency. Similarly, if one wants to go into a peaceful state, quiet state, one must attain the first jhana. After attaining the first jhana, one must master the first jhana by reflecting on it, then re-attaining on it, and then determining how long one should stay in that state and getting out of that state as he predetermined, and then re-attaining. And this way, the one who attains jhanas must master the jhana and then attain, when you master the first jhana, your mind will be no longer interested in the first jhana, because you can see something more peaceful, more or something happier than the first jhana. Then the mind naturally glides into the second jhana. Similarly, when we attain the second jhana, he master it and then attain the third jhana, and then he master the third jhana and then attain the fourth jhana. And these are what you call as four state of Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara, four state of happiness one experiences in this very life. Without and one attains them, these jhanas at will, without trouble or difficulties. And these four jhanas that constitute the higher mind and are pleasant dwelling in this very life. And he is then called a noble disciple who cannot be assailed by Mara, who cannot be assailed by the evil one. So, in the fortress, enemies will be ordinary human beings. But in a monastic life, enemies are not only monastic life, anybody's very powerful enemy is the evils, unwholesome mental states, corruptions, mental mind polluters, and they are the enemies that attack our peace. And therefore the Buddha compared this is very beautiful discourse. For a king, he compared the monastic to a king. King has the fortress and he has these 7 kinds of protections and 4 types of security: food, medicine, and water, and grains, and so forth, in case of emergency. Similarly, in case of the monastics, must have sila, samadhi, panya, moral shame, moral dread, and so on. And then, in addition, they also must have attained 4 jhanas in case of emergency. That means, in case they want they may be working with people, and then occasionally they want to have peace, seclusion, and in this very life they want to enjoy what you call pleasant dwellings or pleasant abiding. And then these 4 jhanas must be ready. They must have attained them so that they can immediately get to this security and attain these jhanas. So the Buddha said, therefore, the Buddha's disciples who have these 7 protections and 4 kinds of jhanas, which they can attain at will. In Pali, Akichalabi, Akashiralabi, Nikamalabi, and so forth, without difficulties, without trouble, without any struggling, they can attain, they should be able to attain this. Then they immediately can get into this peaceful or pleasant abiding in this very life. So that means one must take the maximum benefit of the Buddha Dhamma and learning Dhamma. We are learning not just to store them, but to use them, put into practice for our own personal spiritual benefit. With this, friends, I want to end today's talk, and we must have some time for meditation. So let me try to get it. Okay. We need no. Okay. Okay. Now let us let me read the passages to share metta with everybody, and we do some spend some time in meditation. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds, whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth. May all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate over the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With this metta thought, let us do some meditation. By means of these meritorious deeds, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time unattained Bhavana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear-struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So friends, I'm glad that you all came, and we want to end this session with my regular metta sharing. I want to wish all those who are suffering in hospitals, taken care of by various doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs, may they recover very soon and find Dhamma, practice Dhamma, and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May the doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs who are taking care of these patients, risking their life, sacrificing their comfort, may they find time to practice Dhamma also and liberate themselves from samsaric suffering. May those who have lost their loved ones and grieving, may they find peace and be free from grief, practice Dhamma, and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all those who are in various trouble spots, war zones, poverty-stricken, discrimination, and all this find some way to find peace, practice Dhamma, and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. All others whose categories I have not mentioned, including all of you and all other living beings, be well, happy and peaceful, and finally they all attain Nibbana. Thank you, friends, for coming.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah, you
Thank you,
can
Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante. Teruvan Saranai.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. Sadhu, Bhante. Good health to you.
Bhante.
Okay.
Teruvan Saranai, Bhante.
Everyone, Saranai, we'll see you then.
Thank you,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Tomorrow we will see you.
Everyone, Bhante.
Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Good night.